Is Joe on his way out?
And then the Marshalltown. So I was also going to try to
I do that some days, I get home and I go,
Test.
but I almost have to put like the bottom. I have. Oh, yeah. I can't, because my brain is that. That's fine.
That's what rocks your kids. I'll bring up this week and just drop them off.
It is when you're not thinking.
What? No, not tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, I just use lessons learned. Like, okay, just got to bottle pill. What is it nicer for you?
No, they're
But I walked Finley to school, and Alan and I walked to school. Gosh, I can't believe I ever passed it boys are kind of protective of their sisters. Weston is swoony with Blake. It's like, their relationship, but yeah, he was like, Lane was like, that's my sister. And then Weston was like, that's my sister. You know, like, you're like, for some reason, Weston just wanted to kiss her. Jeez. Yeah, they're fun together. I had really good stuff. Yeah.
Hi. Hi. Good. How are you?
Oh my gosh, my favorite girl. How are you, girlie?
Text me at 5:30. I gotta be in the morning. Taking my exercise.
Yeah, I message. So I'll just call him.
Did you
Yeah.
It's I heard you did. I heard.
from Hector. Hector took care of me.
Pleasure. You know, and it's like,
Buster's clear.
Sounds like a nice trip. How you doing, sir? Happy Monday.
She's working. I got a list. If I didn't see the yard, I could have very good last time. But if Jennifer wants to keep it, I'm sure.
Oh, no, that's right. He gets his own item.
My insomnia. If my insomnia hits big time,
Yeah, there you go.
maybe
There's
followed by
a
that one.
publication for everything.
I read the agenda, but I didn't look.
She want to sit up here? She can see better.
No, they had They couldn't decide on the color. They decided on yellow. I changed the yellow to red. I like it. But I love it. I probably would have done white, but I Julie said the same thing. She's like, don't change it. If you change anything, change the garage. Go that. Thank you. Yeah. They did a good job. Yeah, I can't remember the second one before it was been recently redone.
Very good. Thank you. Well, testing 1, 2, good. Good evening. I think this is the fullest house I've seen here, except for all those protesters back about 11 years ago. Welcome to the City Council chambers tonight at 10 West State Street. We are at the Marshalltown City Council chambers for a regularly scheduled meeting at 5:30 p.m. on November 13, 2023. Having called this to order, would those who are able please join us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Well, because of the number of people here tonight, let's see if we can speed it up a little bit. I have to start with a roll call.
Hoop,
Here.
Isom,
Here.
Kell,
Here.
Lottie
Here.
Nichols,
Here.
Schneider,
Here.
Thompson.
Here. Very good. Full house. And for the public comment section, I would need to read this caveat. Members of the public may make any comments on any items that are not on the agenda at this time. The speaker is to approach the mic, state your name and address for the record, and limit your comments to 3 minutes unless a longer comment is authorized by the mayor. The speaker is to direct the comments to the mayor and the council as a whole, and the mayor and council should not engage in discussion or debate on those items raised by members of the public in order that we do not violate the open meetings laws. With that, we switch over to item E, which is mayor, council, and administrator comments. Do any of the council members have any comments tonight? Mr. Administrator. Okay, well, because it's short, I just wanted to say one thing. Sure, I'm proud of the town, the way that we handle things like a state swimming meet when it comes into town. It's really fun when we have a state champion. Abby, I hope I pronounced her name close enough, Tollefson. is one heck of a diver, and the pictures in the TR were phenomenal, Robert. Oh, the guy that got taking those pictures. You didn't take them, right? No, I know. Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. A motion to approve the consent agenda would be in order? Oh, but we're removing items, was it 18 and 19? Yeah. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda minus items 18 and 19?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Very good. Roll call.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop.
Yes.
Very good. Read away.
Approve the minutes for the October 23rd, 2023 meeting. The bill list in amount of $2,614,960.88. Approve liquor license renewals with Oliver Bean Designs, a permanent premise transfer to 214 East Main Street. Appointment of Chad Green to the Solid Waste Commission, term ending September 1st of 2024. Receipt of building and trade permit report for October 2023. Approve the civil service new hire list for the street maintenance worker 2. Resolution 2023-211 adopting supplements S5, 6, 7 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Marshalltown, Iowa through Ordinance 15069. Resolution 2023-212 to approve the extension until October 23rd, 2024 to complete the City Code Building Upgrade Incentive Grant work for 207 East Main Street. Resolution 2023-213 approving an on-airport memorandum of agreement with the United States of America Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation Administration for navigation, communication, and weather aid facilities at the Marshalltown Municipal Airport. Resolution 2023-214 approving contract change order number 6 for the South 7th Avenue Extension Project ECO 22001. Resolution 2023-215 approving the engineer statement of completion and accepting contract Inc. for Divisions 1 and 2 of the South 7th Avenue Extension Project ECO 22001. Resolution 2023-216 approving contract change order number 8 for the 4th and Meadow Lane Storm Sewer Enhancements Projects, number SMW 17001, a decrease of $2,820. Resolution 2023-217 approving change order number 4 for the Coliseum Generator Addition Project, number COL 22001, an increase of $789. Resolution 2023-218 approving engineer statement of completion and accepting K&W Electric Inc. for the Coliseum Generator Addition Project, number COL 22001. Resolution 2023-219 authorizing internal debt reimbursement to tax increment revenue fund for urban renewal area number 2. Resolution 2023-220 authorizing internal debt reimbursement to tax increment revenue fund for urban renewal area number 3. Resolution 2023-221 authorizing internal debt reimbursement to tax increment revenue fund for the urban renewal area number 4. And, one more. Resolution 2023-222 authorizing internal debt reimbursement to tax increment revenue fund for urban renewal area number 7.
Thanks. Well, I need to back up because I gave the caveat about public comment, but I didn't really invite anybody to the microphone, so I'm out of order once again. That's 3 out of the last 4 meetings. I've been joking about how maybe when I'm done with this job in 2 years and a month, I'll get it down, but it's not so funny anymore. It is time for public comment now before we go on to the next items on the agenda. Is anybody wanting to approach the mic?
Good evening, Lee Botter, 41 Orchard Drive. This past weekend, not only did we have the swim meet going on, but I did see a proclamation declaring Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week was signed by Mayor Greer on November 11th. I personally applaud that we, Marshalltown, is recognizing that hunger and homelessness is a problem in our community, county, state, and country. These issues were caused by many things, with the common denominator being poverty. The needs of our citizens were highlighted this past weekend, also on November 11th, during the Coats for the Community event. Several thousands of our citizens turned up, standing in line for hours, with the line stretched around the Pryor McFarland Clinic Medical Building to possibly get their basic need fulfilled, which was a winter coat for their families. Those I spoke to were filled with gratitude that someone, Jake Rowley and volunteer crew, which did include Councilman Lottie Huff, thank you, for helping them out. Although I was really cold at the end of the day, my heart was warm, knowing we had neighbors going home with much-needed coats. As I drove downtown this morning, looking at the buildings that have finally been finished or in process of being finished, they look really nice. But my question is, can we continue to spend millions on all the extras? My heart was broken when I saw these folks this weekend that were there struggling, standing in line for hours just for a coat. So I challenge our leaders, not just council, not just the mayor, to promote the focus of this week throughout the year. Volunteer, donate, educate. Spend some time helping the poor and rethinking where limited tax dollars are being directed. Ask yourself, which I have done all weekend, would I want to be struggling to make basic needs? How can you and your family help those struggling throughout the year to alleviate their needs? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Nope.
Deb Millizer, Director of the Marshalltown Central Business District. And I just wanted to say that we've had a very busy last couple of weeks. We've had a downtown cleanup. We've had a treasures tour. We've had a third Thursday. This coming up weekend, we have a big weekend. It's Pink Weekend, but it's also our 31st annual holiday stroll, where we invite the public to come downtown and shop our retailers, enjoy the lit parade, go to the craft fair, carriage rides, and just enjoy being a community. So I hope everybody will come downtown this weekend. The holiday stroll is on Saturday, but we kick off Pink Weekend on Thursday, our third Thursday, and then we have Pink Friday in the downtown. So the holiday stroll begins at 4 o'clock, but the craft show, correct me if I'm wrong, Alicia, starts at 12 o'clock? So we hope everybody will come down and enjoy the festivities.
Very good. Thank you. Mic is still open.
Hello, Jim Shaw, 522 North 2nd Street. A mother has shared her harrowing experience of suffering severe injuries during a brutal dog attack while out walking her daughter in a stroller. Shockingly, she is unable to seek compensation for her injuries because the dog responsible is owned by a minor. I don't really understand that one. Katie Deere, a 31-year-old teaching assistant, was walking her own dog when an unsupervised pit bull breed type of dog suddenly attacked her. In a courageous act, Miss Deere had already picked up her own dog, fearing the approaching aggressor. However, the loose dog crossed the road and viciously bit her in the arm. In a quick thinking move, the single mother pushed her daughter's stroller towards a nearby passerby who had come to her help as her own dog fled the scene. Unfortunately, she was led defenseless against the pit bull. Unfortunately, a taxi driver witnessed the attack, intervened, and managed to pry the dog away before calling an ambulance. She was swiftly transported to a hospital where she underwent a 5-hour surgery for injuries suffered to her arm and almost amputating a finger. Currently, she is in the process of recovering with the support of her family. Again, she is unable to get any form of compensation because the dog is owned by a minor. The dog leapt at her, clapped its jaws on her arm, and her own dog fled. In the midst of the agony, Miss Deere vividly remembered the excruciating pain, emphasizing that it surpassed anything she had ever previously endured. She now has to rely on her mother's care because both of her arms are immobilized and cast, and she has the uncertainty potential of nerve damage which has not been analyzed yet. She shared her fear of walking her own dog since she recovers, as the safety of her dog and her daughter remains a significant concern. The dog responsible for the attack was apprehended by armed police and subsequently euthanized. She emphasized how this experience has now altered her significantly, transforming her from a confident individual into someone plagued by anxiety and fear. She expressed her frustration at not being able to enjoy the simple pleasures of walking her dog with her daughter in the stroller. She reiterated that the current system is just unjust. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, then on to item 18. Is there a motion to approve number 18 after we read it first?
Your Honor, we'll have to wait until the
Oh,
end
we
of
just hold it
resolutions
until later? Okay.
to vote on those two items.
Yeah. Any objection to that by anybody up here? No, okay, let's go ahead. Go on to the resolutions then.
Resolution 2023-225, approving the annual street financial report for fiscal year ending 2023.
Motion for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Very good. Discussion first.
Good evening, Diana Steiner, Finance Director. So annually, since we get road use tax funds, we have to complete a street financial report. So I just wanted to go over this quickly. Make this a little bigger. So it kind of breaks it out in different funding sources. So we have the general fund. The general fund pays for the salaries, the gross wages of the street department. However, road use tax then transfers in the money to cover that. The benefits for the street staff are covered by property tax, and the insurance for general liability insurance is covered by property tax as well. So you can see all the expenses coming down here. Contract services is primarily engineering. We have heavy equipment, $448,000. We bought a Caterpillar, a paint wagon, and a couple vehicles. And other special revenues would be coming from local option sales tax, capital projects. We still have some money we need to spend there. So let me go down here to revenues. So out of local option sales tax, we spent about $2.6 million. And then we have the debt service fund, that's also $2.6 million to pay for the principal and interest on the bonds for the street portion. And then our capital projects. So this kind of gives you an overview, summary of our bonds. So the principal balance is just the street portion. So we calculate that out. So the equipment for this year, again, get down here. The Caterpillar, the Chevy Silverado, 2 of those, and the paint truck. All the other pieces of equipment were purchased in prior years. The DOT asks us to report what equipment we have, so other cities, if they're needing to borrow in case of a natural disaster or whatever, they can go out and look and see who has what pieces of equipment. And then the street projects are actually for what has been completed by June 30th of this year. And then you have your summary, your beginning fund balance and your ending fund balance. So we went from 6.3 million in road use tax to 7.8. And then in the capital projects, we went from 8.4 to 6.3. So we are making a little progress on the capital projects. Do you have any questions on this?
Yeah, council first. Any questions or comments up here? Any public comments or questions about it? Roll call.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell.
Yes.
That carried. On to the next resolution.
Resolution 2023-226, awarding general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2023A.
Move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion.
Diana Steiner, Finance Director. So if you recall, what we've been talking about the last several meetings, we did have a bond sale today for $9,840,000. And these are the projects that it will fund: Downtown Implementation Plan Phase 2, State Street Stormwater Outlet, and street improvements. So you should have a handout that was provided by Spear Financial. The bond sale was this morning. So we had 6 bidders. Robert Baird was the one with the lowest interest, a true interest rate of 4.1480. That equates to the true interest of $3,886,420. The next bidder was almost $223,000 more. So we're very glad that Robert Baird bid on our bond. If you go to the second page of that handout, it talks about our bond rating, which is remaining at AA2. We're very happy with that. Factors that could lead to a downgrade would be significant narrowing of reserves or liquidity. And then on the next page, it talks about our credit considerations. Marshalltown benefits from strong reserves and liquidity accumulated primarily by conservative budgeting of revenues and expenditures. For fiscal year '22, the city saw an increase across all funds of amount of $10 million, mainly from FEMA reimbursements, ARPA funds, and delayed capital spending. The reserves are expected to remain healthy due to favorable revenue trends and conservative budgeting. And because in the state of Iowa, cities are able to levy for property tax for our debt service at the amount that we need, they like that, so they mention that. So does anyone have any questions on the sale of the bonds?
Council, questions or comments first? Public comment or questions? Roll call on this one.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Hoop?
Oh.
Isom?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Bodyhoff?
Yes.
Very good, that carried as well. Next resolution.
Resolution 2023-227, approving the Arts and Culture Alliance Agreement for Public Services.
Move for approval, Your Honor. Second.
The discussion on this one.
Yes. A question I have, before we get into approving a contract for $500,000, I'd like a little better understanding of what the deliverables actually are. Please do.
Joe, can you pull up the presentation? Or Alicia? Oh, it's minimized. Thanks, Alicia. Yes, I'd be happy to. Good evening, I'm Amber Danielson, Marshalltown native, and before you tonight as the Executive Director of the Arts and Culture Alliance. In February, the City of Marshalltown's Arts and Culture Master Plan was unanimously approved. It is the Alliance's greatest priority to implement the master plan while aligning with the city's strategic plan. As stated in your strategic plan, a vibrant and welcoming community requires a number of partners, focusing on areas the city typically does not, and to improve quality of life, the city will utilize the master plan to partner with the Alliance. We do not stand up here alone making this request tonight. Beyond the Alliance, City, and Marshalltown Company's investment in the development of the master plan, in the council packet, we included 14 letters of support. This included local businesses such as Mecdine and JBS, downtown building owners such as Janelle Carter, local nonprofits such as YSS and the YMCA, YWCA, education partners like Iowa Valley Community College and Marshalltown Community School District, and key community development partners such as Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce, along with many others. Also, if you are here tonight in support of the implementation of the master plan, would you please raise your hand? And you better believe I'm wearing Take Part Marshalltown gear tonight. We are here tonight to invite the city to, along with the entire community, to take part in implementing this work. Just as a refresher, especially since a few of you are new faces around the table, specifically, welcome, Greg. The master plan is a 10-year guidebook for accomplishing creative placemaking with an emphasis on developing a unique and distinct community while authentically reflecting our community. The plan was shaped by the diverse voices and distinct perspectives of Marshalltown residents. It was not created to stand alone as a separate plan. Instead, it was created as a lens to look through while being an implementation strategy as we execute the influential plans already guiding Marshalltown. These placemaking strategies will enhance the adoption and sustainability of those plans. Also, as a reminder, alongside the development of the master plan, the Alliance went through our own strategic planning process to ensure we were perfectly positioned to implement the master plan. Through our planning process, we saw an opportunity to align, simplify, and modernize our brand. In addition to a revised name, we've updated our mission, vision, and functions and added 5 value statements based on the community input. We are committed to a future where creativity is at the heart of a thriving and vibrant Marshalltown. Our request for an elevated partnership strives to accomplish 3 of the 4 strategies for the city of Marshalltown. Expand and improve development in the community, enhance Marshalltown's public image, partner with citizens, for-profit, nonprofit, and others to improve quality of life. Our work has had a significant impact on the community because of our thoughtful, innovative, and collaborative approach to increasing community pride and providing opportunities to engage, experience, and celebrate our local culture. The master plan seeks to attain strategic alignment and bring community partners together for high-impact collaboration, and as shown in the attached documents with our request, you can see the direct tie between the Arts and Culture Master Plan, the Alliance's strategic plan, and the city's strategic plan. In a focused effort to strategically align with the City of Marshalltown and leading community partners working towards the city's goals and objectives, we are requesting the annual support of $125,000 for 5 years towards the implementation of the city's 10-year Arts and Culture Master Plan. We understand the challenging financial situation of the city and respect the tough decisions surrounding budgets. We also believe this is an investment in expanding and maximizing the city's capacity to accomplish its mission and vision. Since the Alliance and City's successful collaboration to become an Iowa Great Place in 2015, the Alliance has been part of raising $4.7 million towards creative projects in our community. Of these, $2.86 million were direct partnerships with the City of Marshalltown. So yes, some of this work is already happening. However, with greater public support, the Alliance can elevate collaborations within the community, increase engagement from citizens, and streamline the process to maximize efficiencies and impact while leveraging greater private support for this work. So why 5 years? Similar to economic development, community development takes time. It is impossible to specifically outline or forecast. Creative community development is a process, and the end results are established as an outcome of that process. Not all, but most of these projects take time and do not happen overnight. We believe our portfolio of work in Marshalltown, along with our long-standing partnership and strong partnership with the city, showcases our dedication to impactful and results-oriented projects. How will these funds be used? We will be allocating 100% of these funds towards implementation of the master plan, specifically into 3 categories. Based on estimates from previous projects, we estimate 15% towards creative storytelling, 35% towards the creative placemaking process, and 50% towards creative project elements. The Alliance will support the city for creative placemaking project design and process management, grant writing, project execution and implementation, specific creative and unique elements in projects, as well as marketing and communications, or what we like to call as creative storytelling. Essentially, A to Z of the creative placemaking process to impactfully implement the influential plans already guiding Marshalltown. So what is creative placemaking? Simply put, creative placemaking strengthens the connections between people and the places we share. It aims to increase vibrancy, improve economic conditions, and build capacity among residents to take ownership of their community. It goes far beyond murals, sculptures, and even events. It's about creatively addressing challenges and opportunities together with the community. It is embedding creativity at the core of community building. Locally, we can point to the 13th Street District as an example of successful creative placemaking. The revitalization of this district showcases a grassroots effort to enhance a space with a creative approach to foster economic development, recreation opportunities, and community pride. A creative approach on the development in this area has led to a thriving and unique experience in our community. Filled with people and vibrancy on a daily basis, it is now home to Iowa's 2-time award-winning restaurant, some of our most creative hometown businesses like Lily May, host of Marshalltown's most favorited events, Iowa's first outdoor lit futsal courts, a one-of-a-kind natural playscape, an outdoor gathering space, and so much more. Just imagine the impact of this creative approach expanded into development projects throughout the entire community. Cultural places are magnetic, attracting families, travelers, businesses, and entrepreneurs. Again, look at the attendance of the most recent Harvest Market. People are drawn to unique experiences and spaces. Creative placemaking positively impacts local economies and quality of life. One of the key findings from the survey conducted with the master plan was Marshalltown's Net Promoter Score. This is a standard marketing research tool that measures residents' satisfaction with one question: how likely are they to refer a product, service, or in this case, a city to a friend? The NPS is based on -100 to 100, obviously with 0 being the middle. Above 0 is good, 20 is favorable, 50 is excellent, and above 80 is world class. Marshalltown's overall score was -12. While this score was at first disappointing, it is our baseline metric and an opportunity to improve. It is confirmation that this work is critical and we must capitalize on the current momentum. Placemaking leads to its most meaningful outcomes when individuals can relate and connect with the environment. And if we want to increase our NPS score, creative placemaking is a driving force in how we accomplish that. Bear with me, there's not too much more, Gray. Careful when you ask me a question. We can point to
That'll all go with family.
We can point to Weston Park in the 13th Street District as the most creative the most recent creative placemaking project in action. This project engaged key partners and community members to address specific needs and challenges. A comprehensive plan and overall vision was set with a phased implementation strategy, along with the inclusion of unique and distinct elements that you can't find anywhere else. Our spaces and experiences shape who we are as individuals, family, and as a community. Our environments should strive to support positive thoughts and emotions. Placemaking initiatives have shown to produce a 53% increase in positive perceptions, resulting in environments that were seen as culturally vibrant, safe, friendly, and seen as supporting quality of life. Similarly, placemaking initiatives have resulted in 63% increase in positive feelings towards the locations. Not only does placemaking make us think positively and feel good, but it shapes how likely we are to tell others or share information about that place. Research shows a 77% increased likelihood for individuals to recommend the site to friends, family, acquaintances, and a 74% likelihood to share more information about the location. We shape our places, and therefore they shape us. Most recent creative storytelling approach. Our creative storytelling approach, we can activate hope, inspire and increase community pride through concentrated effort to creatively tell Marshalltown's story. The Marshalltown Community School District is already investing in this work, and our most recent partnership, Embrace the Lead, has resulted in massively impactful results for our community and the district. Over 16,000 views of this video, over 44,000 impressions, and almost 23,000 reached. Last slide, I promise. Creative placemaking is a proven model that is being used across the world and specifically all over the state of Iowa to attract, retain, and engage residents and newcomers. This is how communities are accelerating goal attainment and growth. And we aren't just talking about growth in residents. This work is resulting in growth of entrepreneurs, community engagement, business attraction and development, community pride, local investors, unique events, neighborhood development, welcomeness, youth integration, and I could go on and on. This is a long-term strategy for community connectedness and development, which in turn impacts the success in accomplishing the needs and challenges of our community. It is a commitment to creative solutions and creative approaches. Statewide agencies like the Iowa Economic Development Authority understand and are prioritizing this work. As stated in their newest round of grant funding, Iowa is funding projects that attract visitors and new residents to the state and bolster the quality of life in Iowa's rural communities. The aim is to make strategic investments that yield lasting results and create a positive ripple effect throughout the community. Like the master plan says, the community that dreams together grows together. The state is investing in communities who are dreaming big and prioritizing creative placemaking. Capitalizing on the effects of creative placemaking and the implementation of the Arts and Culture Master Plan requires strong public support. There is an urgency and a critical opportunity for Marshalltown to embrace and advance place-led development that produces better economic outcomes for our community. As a reminder of the comments of Councilor Thompson at the February 27th council meeting, where the master plan was unanimously approved, and I quote, "Thank you all. It is obvious a lot of work went into this. Hopefully we can help you on your path," end quote. Well, Gary, and everyone in front of me tonight, the time is now. And to be fair, Gary, you were the only one who made a comment that evening. It is time to transition from investing in this work as a nicety and begin investing in it as a necessity. The Alliance is positioned to collaborate in leading this transition and strategically aligned to partner in accomplishing the city's mission of providing a welcoming, safe, vibrant, and growing community. Thank you for your time and support. We do have several people prepared to speak tonight. If you want to open up for public comment, and then I can answer questions at the end, either way.
Okay, I just soon ask you the question when you're here. So I'm assuming you're the primary resource for grant writing, or who's your grant writer?
Correct.
So what's your grant writing experience?
The last 7 years of raising $4.7 million for the city of Marshalltown.
And I want to make sure I understand one point. So first of all, I made math error. It's $625 $500,000. But, so this is for design. Any art or whatever we come in place would be on top of that, correct?
No, there is 50% set aside for creative elements. But yeah, the hope would be that going through the creative process of creative placemaking, that it would be more than just the installation of art, that creativity would be woven into the design. So we're not talking that every project's going to have murals and sculptures. There's opportunity to do creative placemaking through lighting, through seating, through street design, through landscaping, and on and on. So
The section of Main Street where we added $700,000 for landscaping, trees, and art, is that all in this plan?
I don't know, Heather, is the $700,000 related to State Street or Main Street?
Is Main
Main?
Street?
Well, the Main Street development is not yet, the design is not yet finalized, so we don't have any specific elements that those dollars are tied to, but we are prioritizing creative placemaking, which is why we have kind of gone back to the drawing board with Bolton and Mink and invite you to come to the open house tomorrow night. Good.
Speaking of State Street, I noticed we need to take one more sign down because I drove west to east today for the first time in a long time. We still have one sign at this corner saying, street closed ahead, and it's kind of fun to look ahead and see. No, it's not. It's open. I almost stopped and got it out myself. I'm too light for heavy work and too heavy for light work.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
I don't have a question for Amber. Quite frankly, I'm scared to ask something for that. But I do want to make note of the grant writing that you've done, the amount of dollars that you've brought in, having you be able to help us with that kind of thing. Plus, if you look around Marshalltown and you see everything that is happening right now, that doesn't happen by accident. I find this request almost cheap, but we'll take it as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Also, one comment in response to the grant writing. I think what makes Marshalltown shine is when we're working together. So of those $4.7 million, very few of them were me by myself writing them. So it is a collaborative approach, and many people around the table in helping those dollars come to Marshalltown.
Well, I know right now I think Marshalltown could use some extra grant writing muscle on lots of things, not necessarily creative, but other things as well.
Other council comments or questions? Time for public comment
Your
about
Honor,
this.
if I may.
You may.
I guess I have two questions, and
Sorry, I picked on you.
I'm just curious who threw me under the bus? Who told you to throw me under the bus?
No one. I went back and watched it. I researched before I do anything.
So how about yourself, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I pulled it up this morning.
Gary, you look good. You look good under the bus.
Yeah, I know. Hey, so you answered a little bit of this, Amber. So the $125,000 a year, so not 100% of that would go to the artist or the installation of any art.
Correct. And I hope that it's clear, too, that if you take a moment to read through the Arts and Culture Master Plan, installing artwork is not really talked about in the plan. It's more of a creative approach to the work we're doing in the community. So you're right, 100% isn't necessarily going to what I'll call the elements in projects, but it's really, I mean, when we're doing these projects really well, like Weston Park, I mean, it's a process from the start all the way to the end, and it takes time, and it's engaging the community, it's grant writing, it's asking questions, it's doing research, it's talking to key stakeholders and making sure that all the right people and players are around the table. And so, yes, some of those dollars is going to the process of that, but a lot of it is also going towards those key design elements as well.
And then I have another question that's not for you, but before I ask that of the city administrator and the mayor, I want to let everybody know that I do support the arts, as you've referenced. I don't know, depending on what gets said by everybody, if I can support $125,000 for 5 years, not knowing what we're going to find when we start fixing these streets. So I need to hear more if this is a lot of money for us to commit to for a 5-year period. Okay? I'm willing to commit some money. I'm just not sure I'm willing to commit that amount. Now, that said, I have question for the city administrator and the mayor. Do we have the legal ability to pledge that much money without asking for an RFP from other organizations to do the same work? I don't know what legally our cap is that we can authorize without putting this out for bid. And I wish our city attorney was here tonight to answer that, because I know if we don't have it in writing, we have set a precedent on dollar figures that go out for RFPs.
Point of clarification, I guess, question on top of Gary's then, I guess, so why then do we not send something out for an RFP to the chamber, to MCBD, any of our other partnerships that exist via 2080 agreement? I mean, the precedent's been set with regards to what we're doing here tonight. This isn't something new, I guess, from the lens of where I'm sitting.
And I agree with that too. I think we should have, before we commit this money. I wish I knew, shame on me for not knowing the answer to my own question for serving for 4 years, but what is our policy?
So legally, I think we're fine, because, and kind of like Gabe said, this is fairly typical for nonprofits. Now, if it was engineering services, we are having some RFPs go out for those. For these type of things, the economic development, I haven't seen that there's been a history of that.
So it's not a dollar amount threshold, it is a type of service you're purchasing?
I'm not sure that I'm quite ready to answer it like that, but it's with a nonprofit, it's not a competitive RFP like. What I think your question is, should we have put it out for an RFP? Potentially we could have. I don't know that there's anybody out there that provides these services.
And we'd have that question answered, right, if we have one supplier.
Thanks, Joe. I guess what I'm asking is, we're talking about a lot of money, and we're going to talk about some more money tonight for the MCBD and for the chamber. And all these, like with this, is we are contracting services. If we hire an employee, we have expectations of job performance. And I understand in this agreement there are expectations, but again, there's a lot of leeway within these expectations. And it does say that everything has to come to the council for a final approval, but we're still cutting checks every, quarter. And I think, maybe this is something that needs to get tabled and get legal involved, because I don't see the difference, sir, with engineering services or economic development services. We are hiring a company to provide a service to the city with taxpayers' money.
Point of clarification, we're not hiring a company. Secondly, I guess, where do we draw the line? So we're questioning all dollars regards to Animal Rescue League and everything else associated with funding. I guess I would be under the assumption that some of those agreements similar to this are reviewed by our legal counsel and therefore, in a sense, blessed already. So I guess I don't know why we would table anything based off the number of other examples we have as a city and partnerships we have in existence.
And I know you asked for a comment from me too, so let me address this. Coach Hoop has been sitting up here longer than I have, but I've been doing it for 11 and a half years. Never had the challenge raised before. My suggestion is that that we run it past legal counsel. If that truly is a legal question that needs to be addressed. Would have been nice to address it before tonight, but we can do it later. And if there is any advice that we've done anything wrong because we passed anything tonight, we can reverse what we have done.
Per the agreement in the resolution, I'm not sure we can retract it.
If it's determined to be something that we didn't have the legal ability to do, we certainly could and would. Other council comments before we open the mic to the public?
Your Honor, first, I want to thank the Arts and Culture Alliance on the great content provided in the packet. I think that's a new standard that all groups should be requesting. We have the explanation, we have the ROI, national study, $5 return for every dollar invested. Even at the micro level, it's lower. That's still unbelievable. Letters of support from some of our largest, oldest, most innovative businesses in town. They see the impact on recruitment and retention, so kudos there. Hearing some of the comments, I guess I want to take this personal without hopefully making it personal. if you will. If you look at us up here, those of us with adult children or siblings who grew up in town, a very small percentage are actually in Marshalltown. My math has it at about 20%. And I know there's numerous reasons why, but when we ask ourselves and we're looking at what's best for Marshalltown, why aren't we reflecting personally? Why aren't our children in Marshalltown? Why aren't our siblings in Marshalltown? The Net Promoter Score, the survey tells us what we know. Siblings, friends, colleagues, employees of mine all live outside the community, and I continually ask them why. We've spent a lot of time recently talking about garbage toters and roads. Based on national data, I'm sure they have toters at their house. That's the way the garbage industry is going. No denying the data on the roads, but I've never once heard roads as the reason why people choose not to live in Marshalltown. A theme I hear is vibrancy, amenity, sense of belonging. You need things to do. That's what this plan does. So again, I'm not trying to make this personal, but if we're honest with ourselves and look at our own family members, I think this goes a long way in helping make Marshalltown the community we want. Thank you.
So as a father of 5 children, or 6 children, 5 of them are out of town. And they all gave me very clear reason why. The jobs they want are not here. And I am so glad we have one in town. But I don't see the type of jobs they're doing professionally for their professional development ever being in Marshalltown.
And as the mayor, I should probably go back to the manual, which suggests that I should get comments from each counselor first before we go back to people who have already spoken up here. So let me do that. Would anybody else like to speak up here first? If not,
Public comment.
public comment is open.
Kathy Steinberg, 309 Summit Street. I watched a great program on public TV within the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it was about Mason City and all the sculptures that they have. And they joined with 3 other cities, and they had the most charming, and a lot of it directed to to children and the children and all of us. And then they rotate these sculptures around these 4 entities. So the financial burden is spread out. And it seems like Mason City has a lot of really charming sculpture work all around the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Amy Dimerly Snyder, 1106 West Main, and owner of Lily Mae Chocolate in the 13th Street District, also on the board for the 13th Street District. I can just say, as someone who has seen our town at its dirtiest and as dilapidated as it gets, the difference that the art has made, in addition to all the volunteer hours, all the financial support, the grants that have gone into that district, it is a different place. And when you come in and you're a visitor to our community, or you're someone coming back to our community, I couldn't have said it better, Barry, it makes a difference. And we talk about all these cities that we want to be a part of. Oh man, look what they have. You know, oh, it's so cool. Why can't we have that? Well, this is exactly what makes Marshalltown cool. All cities have terrible roads. Honestly, I don't think I've been in a city that doesn't have road problems. But I have been in a lot of cities that don't have anything special, and we are on the path to making Marshalltown great. 13th Street was a grassroots effort by volunteers. It really, the hope is that you're going to take these elements that have happened on 13th Street and are already happening in other dilapidated neighborhoods, and it will motivate the public to get involved, take pride, and continue those things going. On a financial basis of just what this creative placemaking does for the community, we have visitors coming and shopping, they're coming and staying in our community, and that brings dollars in. Hopefully, I mean, one of my kids doesn't feel Marshalltown is enough for him to come back to, but it's undeniable what this kind of impact has on our community, and I certainly hope that you all will support this.
Aaron Busby, 510 Highland Drive. Yeah, basically I'm going to riff off of what Barry said, because I think my message is pretty similar to that, because I am going to speak personally. So my wife and I own Zeno's Pizza and Wayward Social, and so I'm a small business owner, but I'm also an artist, and so I want to speak on this, that I spent the first 18 years of my life here. Moved away when I was 18, moved to Des Moines, spent the better half of a decade there, loved it, and honestly, the reason I share that is I never thought I'd call Marshalltown home again. We had no intention. We were kind of at a crossroads in our lives where we weren't sure if where we were going to plant our roots, but we thought it'd be in the Des Moines metro area. We started coming back and visiting my family on the weekends, and just for something to do, we started poking around Marshalltown's amenities, and we found out that we actually fell in love with the uniqueness of Marshalltown, the culture, the creativity that Marshalltown offers, and next thing you know, we said it was a huge attraction for us. It was an attractor, and we said, this is going to be our home. So that's one of the huge drivers why we landed here. If we didn't have all these things, we didn't see the potential in all these things, I'm not sure if we would have come back and invested in the community. So I know, when we talk about dollars, I'm not naive. This doesn't happen by accident. We're talking about putting some money into it, and it shouldn't be taken lightly, but it needs to be a priority. Because a lot of times when we get talking about cost, it often can prohibit us from talking about the value that we get from those dollars spent. And it's not just intrinsic. This is a economic investment. In fact, I just read a blog lately that said tomorrow's economics are all about aesthetics. And that's true. And it's not. So this is an economic investment, but it's not just economic. It's about competition. It's a competitive investment. That if we don't view all other communities in central Iowa, with the mobile workforce, people can live anywhere. A lot of people have a lot more options of where they can reside. That if we don't view every community in central Iowa as a competitor, we've already lost. So I think that we need to keep this as a high priority. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Serena Stabenow, 1403 West Main Street. I do like what Marshalltown is doing, but I'm a taxpayer and I'd like to, be able to still own my house. But if we want to clean up Marshalltown, we need to clean up Marshalltown. And, it's nice to have artwork. It's nice to have, some decent sidewalks. But the other day I was driving and, we have some really bad housing. And, we have a drug problem. And this needs to be cleaned up. So if we want a good Marshalltown, we need to start by cleaning up some houses. And I live on West Main Street, and I drive by this house every single day, and it's like, it's an eyesore. So we need to clean up Marshalltown by cleaning up some houses. And you are in charge. You work for us.
Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue, and since we're making this personal, I am an elderly person who has lived in her home nearly 74 years. I have seen a lot of changes in this town. And we do have a problem with drugs and with things in this city. I no longer go out and walk the streets myself at night. And as far as making all these wonderful bike trails, I am not going to be pedaling a bicycle anywhere. I choose not to, and I choose to stay in my home where I feel safer. And so, yes, there are elderly people that have been here, raised here, born here, never moved away. But it seems like there are people that have worked here And as soon as they retire, they leave Marshalltown. I am staying. I'm not going anywhere. And I have always spoke up in public venues. It's great to have younger people, but we also have older people that need to be remembered too. So thank you for your time.
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. So, I am a resident of Marshalltown. I am a community member. I am a business owner and a developer in this community. We have a tax problem. We can't afford what we want to do solely on tax money. Serena and Linda were right. We have elderly community members that are on fixed incomes. We have a drug problem. We are known as the meth capital of Iowa. We have 3 cartels in Marshalltown, according to Senator Grassley. We need the money to go to city expenses. There are 280 nonprofits in Marshalltown. As I've said many times, they control over $60 million in endowments. The Community Foundation of Marshall County could give the gambling money to this endeavor. Martha Ellen Ty could support this endeavor. JBS has given money to the community. I don't know where it all went because it's not public, but we know they gave it to them because there's an article in the paper that says so. Mr. Greening, who's a sport letter here, I know him personally, excellent man, but he doesn't live here anymore. He moved out of town because the school district wasn't up to what they needed. So we really need to prioritize what we spend taxpayer money on. Taxpayer money needs to go to things that everyone needs as their basics: roads, sewers, all of that. Police enforcement. It doesn't need to go to this. Amber, I support you. I support the arts. You know I do. I work in the art industry. I make my living off of it, have for 20 years. It's a wealthy business. We don't need to spend taxpayer money on this. We are the 17th poorest community. Yes, we want to be better than that. I know. But we need to grow organically, not forced by a bunch of marketing for 4 pages. Thank you.
I'm Harold Lanning. I live at 1994 Vine Avenue, so I'm not a resident of Marshtown. So if you want to rule me out of order, go right ahead.
You're not out of order, but let me shorten it up a little. There are a lot of people here to talk tonight.
All right. I've lived out in Marshalltown area for all my life. I'm 80 years old. And I got to tell you that I'm embarrassed and ashamed to see what Marshalltown looks like now. I went to do a little head thinking and linking back from 1960 when I graduated from high school. And I put together a list, and I come up with over 200 industries, retail stores, and so forth that we used to have in this town. Now, I know we're not going to ever get back to that level and so forth, but I'm embarrassed and ashamed to have to come to Marshalltown. One good thing that your council did do a few years ago is they made Highway 330 a 4-lane, because it sure makes it convenient for me to go to Ankeny, Altoona, and Des Moines to shop, where there's all kinds of restaurants and all kinds of retail there. And instead of sitting up here talking about art, you ought to be talking about what are you going to do with the mall out here, what few retail stores were there, and now they're going to be gone and so forth, instead of worrying about painting size of buildings. Thank you.
Mic is still open.
Hello. Karina Hernandez, 211 South 15th Avenue. I'm here to express my strong support for the Arts and Alliance Cultural Alliance Master Plan, which has already demonstrated exceptional commitment and dedication to Marshalltown. As a community member, parent, and partner at Marshalltown Community School District as a school board member, I have had the privilege of witnessing firsthand the outstanding work and positive impact some of the projects have already made on our Bobcats. Several months ago, I was invited to participate on the MCSD Brand Story video committee, where a variety of community members, school staff, and students provided feedback on the video Embrace the Lead, created by Acqui. The video was created to highlight the strengths of our district and to boost our Bobcat pride. It succeeded by showing the many opportunities our students have in our schools and displaying our proudly diverse Bobcats. With thousands of views of this video, it is now a staple in our district and our community to encourage our youth to embrace the lead. With the amount of outside enrollment in our school district to other communities, this is a big loss if we do not really embrace the lead for our students. This is also money lost by our district. I also participated in a neighborhood mural project located at Woodbury Elementary School. This mural, along with another at Anson Park, involved our current students, which gave them the opportunity and ownership of the mural by taking part of the painting with Sasha. The murals, as many around in our town, not only makes our neighborhoods more beautiful, but it also helps communicate and visually reinforce our strengths in our community. These projects, along with many others in the master plan, are an investment to Marshalltown, as it will enhance our community pride, enrich our neighborhoods, expand our platform for community involvement opportunities, not only for our youth, but our diverse community, inspire growth among our youth, and create a more welcoming and attractive town. Thank you.
John Hermanson, 500 North 6th Street. I also practice orthodontics down on 13th Street. And I was reminded when one of the other commenters, public commenters, was up here of when I first got involved. I was involved with the 13th Street revitalization from pretty much the very beginning. And I remember there used to be a section in the paper called Tell It Like It Is. And thankfully they kind of got rid of that, but it kind of still lives on the internet, I think, that same sort of a phenomenon. But I distinctly remember the sibling of one of the commenters tonight made a comment about me. While Hermanson diddles on 13th Street, Rome burns. And, you know, I guess it was a little discouraging. That person actually was one of my classmates in high school here, class of 1990. But I guess I'm glad I didn't give up. You know, I guess we can look and say we're the 17th poorest community in the state and city in the state. And why not just shut it up? Why not just give up? You know.
Keep quiet back there, please.
I guess my thought is, if we don't invest in our community, and I'm measured investments, they need to be the right kinds of investments. I think we'll be looking back at the good old days when we were only the 17th poorest community in Iowa. We have to make smart investments. You know, 13th Street, the way we got where we did down there, where we are today, took a lot of people, a lot of belief and some risks. But, you know, we made it our stated example from the start, a stated goal to be an example for what could be possible in other parts of Marshalltown. So I guess it's both gratifying and exciting to be standing here now, seeing the possibility of taking some of these concepts, this way of creatively making places, creative placemaking, and taking that to the broader community and making more spaces cool and attractive and unique and authentically Marshalltown, places where people want to be and engage and celebrate together and invest in. the process required the creative mind from the get-go, and that these are all concepts that they, I know, I'll make it quick, concepts that are involved with this creative placemaking. You need the creative input early on in the process, and we had that with RDG design on 13th Street that we commissioned. But then there was also community input and stakeholder input. We solicited the input from the neighborhoods, the business owners, property owners down there. And then also to get there, it took partnerships with the city. The city, over the last, we started all this in 2007, has been a tremendous partner with the 13th Street District Committee and other entities as we've been able to drive this forward. So we find ourselves at this point where we have an opportunity that I think we would be absolutely crazy not to seize. We have this master plan that provides the roadmap for us to balloon this creative placemaking concept and accomplish all kinds of really cool things for Marshalltown. And we happen to have Amber Danielson and the Arts and Culture Alliance perfectly positioned and poised to lead us in this effort. Amber's knowledge of this creative placemaking concept is she is absolutely an expert around the state, and she is well regarded. The work that she's done in Marshalltown over the past 8 years, I think it is, she's been in that role, has put us on the map. It is made our community more proud, and it's well known around the state of Iowa what we have going on here. It's
John,
one of the shining stars that we have.
I do need to cut you off, John. I'll
Yeah.
let you go over a little bit. I
Okay.
did notice, I just saw recently that she got an award from the governor in the arts for being one of the top 40 under 40, I think it was. Anyway,
She just received a governor's award. She is perfectly positioned to lead us through this, and I thank you for your time. We'd be crazy not to take advantage.
Anyone else?
Lee Botter, 401 Orchard Drive. I am a homeowner here in Central Iowa, have been for decades, business owner. My children were born and raised here. I will be here till hopefully God calls me home. I firmly believe in the arts in our community. You all know that I was the co-founder for Splash for Life. A big part of that was art in the park. The question I guess that I need to pose is, it's my understanding that this money is coming from camera revenue. But if we're looking 5 years out, will that revenue hold? Will it not hold? Where's the other money coming from, year 3, 4, 5? I believe we do need to have arts, but I think we need to streamline it back a little bit, maybe approve 1 year, see how it goes, take it slow. We need to get our priorities straight. We need to focus on that infrastructure, fixing the roads, getting the code enforcement done, using the nonprofits that exist in our community to fund this. They can sure fund it. The city needs to focus on what we're supposed to focus on, infrastructure needs and public safety. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may. Lee, just to answer your question, it's 25% of the camera revenues with a cap of $125,000. So if the revenue goes down, so does the amount.
May I clarify a question then? So let's say hypothetically the revenues now are $250,000, that percentage also goes down? Has that been taken into consideration with the Art Alliance? Do they know how to come up with the difference in dollars?
So that is not how this agreement reads. There is no percent. It's a fixed amount. So it's saying it's coming from the traffic camera, or the traffic cameras. If our revenue goes down, it's still a fixed amount. It does not say 25%.
So there is a sentence that says that as these payments come from a designated revenue source, the funds must be available to the city prior to any quarterly payment being made. And remember, these come from another resolution where that's where the dollar amounts and the
Right,
percentages
but I'm
are
saying,
placed.
it's still a fixed amount here. It is not, it does not, it should say, in my view, 125,000 or 25% of the ATE revenue for this process.
That's set forth in the previous resolution, so it all builds on each other.
I'm going to ask the attorney here if that's the way this reads.
Don't have an attorney here. I'm not the city attorney, so I don't answer legal questions.
Hello, Jim Shaw, 522 North Second Street. So some of these things, I guess the only reason people are talking about them is because it's good places for the other money to go. Because I don't think it really pertains to what the young lady back here was asking for. But I've been up here complaining about pit bulls. I've been up here complaining about streets. And it's recently come to my attention that we have a lot of lights out at night. I challenge anyone on the council to go home, get your wife, go 3 blocks south of here, or north of here, and walk down that sidewalk. It's too dark to see. I'll go ahead and do it. Chief Tupper can go ahead and do it. The rest of you guys, I can't see you walking 3 blocks down there.
Hey, I took your taekwondo course.
Well, you didn't make black belt.
I didn't even make a pink belt.
There's 53 people in town that got black belts. But yeah, my fiance Kathy, she pointed out to me the other night, so we were riding around, and you just go down the street and kill your lights, you go, oh my God. Yeah. And then you turn them back on and you go half a watt and there's 3 or 4 kids standing alongside in the dark. They're not there just because they haven't, it's dangerous. So while you're thinking of where else you want to spend money, turn some of our lights back on.
Anyone else?
Aaron Carpenter, 802 North 4th Street. Someone needs to move this monitor. I can't.
Oh, thank you.
I can't see you guys.
I wish somebody thought of that sooner. I didn't know you could. I mean, truly, as a short guy up here, I often can't see people.
Yeah,
Amber was
Gary,
kind of having to go
I'll take
like
that
this.
into consideration. Thanks. There's a lot of heat in the room at the moment, and I feel like what's coming out of this is that we have people who care a lot about our community, and we all care about our community, but we disagree on the best way to move forward. So I thought I would just share my personal experience with Marshalltown. I moved here 2.5 years ago. I haven't been here my whole life. I've barely been here an election cycle. I moved here because my husband got a job here. And he got a job here 16 years ago. It took us like 14 years to move here. We lived in Ames. I was an artist, full-time professional, like I made a very good living making art. We didn't move here because it wasn't the kind of community we wanted to live in. And there wasn't anything, we didn't see things to do, and we didn't really see a future for the community. That changed. And the community made progress and became the kind of place where we wanted to live here. I am very proud to call Marshalltown my home now. I don't think those words could have come into my brain, let alone out of my mouth a decade ago. And I am so enthusiastic about the work that Amber and the ACA is doing in this community and other organizations who are pushing us forward and making a difference in the quality of the community that we have. So I want to just say thank you, Amber, so much. And thank you, everybody who cares about this community. Even if we don't agree on the best way to express that care, but I think that it's really important that we make Marshalltown a wonderful place to live. Thank you.
Anyone else? Time for roll call.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Nichols,
No.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Unfortunately, no.
Hoop,
No.
Isom.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution did carry. On to the next item, which is a public hearing. Tell us about that one.
Public hearing and resolution 2023-228, providing for the conveyance and transfer of title to a portion of vacated alley to adjoining property owner at 1108 West Church Street.
Before we get there, too, let me invite people that were here mostly for that discussion to leave if you like. You don't have to stick around. We won't feel like you're rude. Besides that, it's heating up in here with all the people. But thank you for coming, and thanks for those who want to stay. With that said, now I will declare the public hearing is open on this topic at 6:42 p.m. and ask whether the clerk received any written comments.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Time now for public comments on this one. I doubt there will be any unless the owners involved want to talk. I don't see anybody coming up to the microphone, so time for staff review. You want to do that one?
Yes, Your Honor. Council previously approved the vacation of this alley at the owner's request at 1108 West Church and 1110 West Church. They will both be purchasing the right-of-way that adjoins to their properties for the price of $250 per our policy.
Good enough. Time for council comment. Anybody want to comment on this one? All right. I declare the public hearing is closed at 6:43 p.m. and I solicit a motion to approve the resolution.
Your Honor, I would motion to approve this sale.
Thank you. Roll call.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
That one carried as well. Next one, public hearing again.
Public hearing on resolution 2023-229, providing for the conveyance and transfer of title to a portion of vacated alley to the adjoining property owner at 1110 West Church Street.
Public hearing is over at 6:43 p.m. Did you get any written comments?
No, Your Honor.
Time for public comments. Nobody's going to comment on this one. Staff review.
This is the same as the previous item.
I'm sorry?
It's the same as the previous item.
No, okay, very good. Let's call the public hearing closed at 6:44. Well, anybody want to comment up here? I didn't think so. Hearing's closed at 6:44. Is there a motion to approve?
Your Honor, I'll move to approve this sale also.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Bodyhoff.
Yes.
Carried. Thank you. Public hearing on which next?
Public hearing and resolution 2023-230, approving plans, specification, form of contract, and cost for the Peterson Park Improvements Project in the city of Marshalltown, Iowa, being project number PRK 22005.
6:44 p.m. now. The public hearing is open. Did you get any written comments?
No, Your Honor.
Time for public comments. Time for staff review. Should we give me more time to get up here?
I'm fast. Jeff Hubbard, Parks and Rec Director. This is, you've seen the kind of design concept for this, plus the plans, but it's basically all the concrete work at Peterson Park. Half basketball court, a shelter pad, a sidewalk to the shelter. Engineers estimates for $33,000 for the project. We've already spent $40,000 for the playground, $10,000 for the soccer goals and basketball hoops and some other miscellaneous things. So we still have enough money. Hopefully, if these bids come in at the $30,000 mark, we'll have enough money to then put that shelter up, and we'll be good to go.
Your Honor, may I ask Jeff a quick question, please?
It's time for council comments. Go for it, yeah.
Jeff, could you tell Councilman Nichols where this park's located since he's new?
I already know.
Hey, but I'll bet the rest don't.
Mike can tell him probably is better. You take Woodbury Street till it dead ends just past 16th Avenue and you're there.
Go by my house a week ago. You didn't see it?
I know where it was.
Your Honor,
It's a nice
I will have
gym.
to say I had to look up some of this stuff after when I got these meetings. Though.
Your Honor, I just wanted company under the bus.
Okay, there you go. Well, you both look good under the bus, and we'll keep you on that side of the dais, too. And it does adjoin the trail, too, as I recall, actually. Okay. Thank you. Any other council comments? I declare the public hearing is closed at 6:46 p.m., and is there a motion to approve it?
Motion for approval, Your Honor.
Second. Roll call.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Nichols. Yes. Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Are we talking a city bus? All right. Next item.
Public hearing on proposed amendment to the Marshalltown Urban Renewal Area Number 3.
I declare this public hearing is open at 6:47 p.m. Did you get any written comments?
No, Your Honor.
Time for public comments. Time for staff review.
This proposed amendment will allow for continued TIF development of economic action within this area as well as other commercial and industrial areas within the city.
Thank you. Time for council comments. Declare the public hearing closed at 6:47 p.m. Is there a motion to approve it?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second?
Roll call.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell.
Yes.
Very good. That carried. If you're ready to tell us about the next public hearing.
Public hearing on proposed amendment to the Marshalltown Urban Renewal Area Number 4, Resolution 2023-232 to approve this plan amendment.
Public hearing's open to 6:48 p.m. No written comments to the clerk, I assume?
No.
Time for public comment. It always amazes me that that goes before staff comment and council comments, but nobody gets up to talk about that one, so on for staff review.
This proposed plan amendment would allow for continued TIF funding of economic development within the downtown business district.
Thank you. Any council comments? I declare public hearing closed at 6:48 p.m. Call for a motion.
Motion to approve, Your Honor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottiehoff,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Carried. On to the next.
Public hearing on the proposed economic development support agreement with the Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce, Resolution 2023-233, approving this agreement for support with authorizing annual appropriation tax increment payments and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement.
It's 6:49 p.m. Public hearing is open. Any written comments?
No, Your Honor.
Any public comments?
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. The Chamber of Commerce has a economic development arm, Marshalltown Investment Partners or Industrial Park or something like that. It's got $400 and some $1,000 in money and land for economic development. I don't think they need taxpayer funds for economic development. But if you're going to give it to them, why don't you modify the rules and require all economic development activity performed by the chamber, budgets and agendas and minutes of all meetings pertaining to economic development are public record and available for public to attend the meetings. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. John Hall with the Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce. Happy to be in front of you this evening for the renewal of our economic development contract. So just as a reminder, the contract that we'd been operating under prior was $50,000 a year, and had been that way for approximately 10 years. Really, the state of economic development and the work that we're doing has shifted tremendously in that time, and really radicalized over the last few years following COVID. We know that folks now move where they want to and then find a job later. It is less about moving where there is a direct job. And so a lot of our efforts have had to shift based on what the business community feedback looks like. So work on retail and restaurant and entertainment business development, work on housing development. Those are items that we need to be at the table on in a more robust way than we ever have been before. And that's what the private dollars that we've got coming in indicate that they are looking for from us. And so while it's important to leverage as many resources in, I think it's also important to mention that we do have considerable private dollars that come into this as a public-private partnership to drive forward economic development in our community. You know, a few of the recent successes that we've seen, Carl's on the north side of the community, Scooters, the new pharmacy downtown, a few years ago, Real Deals with here in downtown. Also single-family housing growth. We've seen more new single-family homes built last year than we had in the previous 5, and we're on track to outpace that even this year. But then also the not-so-good things. So I often talk about how we get the good fortune of being at like all the celebrations for all the really positive things that happen in the community. But with that, we also have to be at all the negative meetings. So with the mall issues, we've been able to react and get involved very quickly and very actively in everything there. And I'll provide an update later tonight on that as well. But the economic development process takes a while. It is a timely or a big time taker. And so when I arrived just 2.5 years ago, we really were behind the 8 ball in a lot of the standard economic development work that we've needed to do. So things like site certification have been a tremendous boom in us being able to see project activity. So the 95 acres that the city controls up north of Marion Street that we are nearly completed on the site certification process on, we now have 3 active projects on because we have taken the time to invest the resources to position that and market that. We have opened 6 projects in the last about 90 days that are all active and all open. We had a site visit last week that went tremendously well. So we're seeing positivity with relation to our economic development efforts. And so I stand before you today as a certified economic developer who has had the good fortune of doing this in a number of communities in central Iowa, confident in the contract I provided. I should also mention that while it looks like I just went ahead and doubled the contract amount, I can assure you I did not. I actually had more asks inside of our contract than what made it into the final one that's in front of you tonight. But your city administrator negotiated those out down to the $100,000. So I would be happy to answer if there's any questions about the contract or about specifics within our economic development strategy that I might be able to clarify or provide insight on.
Actually, let me ask if there's any other public comment,
Yep.
and then we'll go to council comments that may ask questions of you too.
Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue, and I am a lifetime resident of Marshalltown. And I have participated in a lot of things. And I would like to reiterate what Mr. Eaton said. We need to have full disclosure of everything that the chamber is doing. And why do I say this? Because a radio ad and a flyer ad for an event that the chamber was sponsoring didn't say it was for members only. And I went and paid a check, $25 to attend that meeting because I wanted to see the Iowa Economic Development, Deb Durham, that was speaking. I got a telephone call and I was told I could come pick that check up. It wasn't open for the public. It was open for the public. And so I had friends that made calls to Mr. Hall. Guess what? I got a call and I was allowed to attend. So yes, We need to have full disclosure as to what they are doing. And that actually happened to me. He said on the telephone he was afraid maybe I would disrupt the meeting. I have never disrupted a meeting here. Never, intentionally. He had sat beside me before, and I told him that when he called me on the phone. But I did attend the meeting. Hy-Vee had sponsored it. So thank you so much, but we do need to have full disclosure of where the money is going. It should be public record, and everybody should be allowed to attend their functions. Thank you.
Any further public comment?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Jim Bowman. I am not a resident of Marshalltown, but I am an employee of Alliant Energy. My title is Senior Economic Development Manager, and we serve proudly Marshalltown and another. We're in 83 of the 99 counties in Iowa, and my job is to work in economic development. I'm a career economic developer, and I've worked with John. I got to know Joe here recently. Actually, I was part of that site visit that we worked together with the state of Iowa to bring a prospect that's interested in investing here in Marshalltown. And I've been doing this kind of work for over 35 years. I've worked in 5 states. I've seen a lot of change, as been mentioned. And what used to be where people would follow jobs has just turned around. It's now jobs follow people. So businesses investing heavily where they know communities are attracting people. So it's really, economic development is almost a people business as much as it is a business. I like to say that, and by the way, I was really impressed with your meeting tonight. I've been to many city council meetings in my 35 years of working in economic development, and I think the young lady said it. Everyone cares about this community, and it's refreshing to see the passion and the love for Marshalltown. That's and how our democracy works, right? We've got to respect everyone's opinion, and how we get to the final outcome is kind of the ingredients of the recipe. We support the chamber. We just increased our investment in the chamber because of their leadership and their desire to really grow the economic development services that will have an impact on Marshalltown. You see, we have, as a business, have got to look at communities that want to be winners and decide where do we put our investor dollars. And it's tough. We have to make tough decisions. Marshalltown's on that list that we talk about often about where Alliant Energy can invest more. Not only in organization capacity, and that's what I think we're talking about tonight, is giving the chamber more capacity to conduct economic development, but also in assets in your community. And we want to do more of that. We believe Marshalltown has all the right pieces, if you will, that could capture more investment, more jobs, especially those that are more manufacturing, industrial related, but also the retail and the service and the commercial businesses, because they have to all work together. And the one thing that I have seen in my career is the need for leadership. And tough decisions are made, but if you have leaders that work together and you have a common vision, you obviously have the passion to grow your community, but you have that public-private partnership. And yes, I believe I work for city government, by the way. I believe the public sector dollars are to partner with the private sector. And they work together as long as those dollars are wisely invested. So we're going to continue to invest in Marshalltown. We think it's a winner. We see great opportunity here. More basic jobs that are going to pay higher wages that also support your retail and your commercial businesses and your tourism. And by the way, we expect a return on investment. You know, we just don't write a check and go away, but we have a board position, and we communicate regularly with John and his board on wanting to see a return on our investment. And we're pleased with what we're seeing, and we expect to see even greater things happening here, and we want to be part of that. So I encourage you to support the chamber and their investment. We're there. As a private sector, we're going to continue to invest, and I do appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming tonight. I'd feel funny if I didn't comment on the fact that about 10 years ago, we were looking at a coal plant here, and that didn't happen, and we ended up with a gas-fired plant that is a really nice facility out there. And I know more recently you've helped Y with its solar farm, and I know you're talking to the school district about another solar farm. So we here in Marshalltown don't ignore what an impact Alliant has had. And then we know about the tornado and derecho and the recovery to get us back having electricity. So on behalf of the city of Marshalltown, thank you for being here for Alliant. Anybody else? It is then, after public comments, time for staff review.
Mr. Mayor, the only thing to add here, it's been stated this has been a long-term public-private partnership. This is a 5-year term, $100,000. If this service wasn't provided by a partnering agency, the city would need to provide staff and resources in-house, likely at a higher cost than this.
Thank you. Now time for council comments.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
I just want to reiterate what I said earlier and follow just the administrator's comment. If this was ever an item that needed an RFP, he just said, if these services were not being provided by a partnering agency, the city would need to provide staff and resources in-house. If that doesn't call for an RFP, I don't know what does. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Other council comments? Okay, I'll declare the public hearing is closed at 7 a.m. is what my clock says, but that's because I switched it over to my stopwatch. 7:02 p.m. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Thompson?
No.
Hoop?
No.
Isom?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottiehoff?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Very good. That carried 5-2. On to the next item.
Public hearing on resolution 2023-234 approving the economic development support agreement with the Marshalltown Central Business District, Inc., authorizing annual appropriation tax increment payments and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement for the Main Street, Iowa operations agreement.
And we don't have a public hearing on this one, so I would.
Yes, it is a public hearing.
Oh, it is a public hearing on this one too. Okay. Well, our time is 7:03 p.m. Hearing is open. Any written comments?
No, Your Honor.
Public comments.
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. I make the same request. Public funds are being issued and spent issued to and spent by this nonprofit organization. I think that agendas, meeting times, places, and meetings should be open to the public.
Any other public comment?
Good evening, Neil DeLaw with the Marshalltown Central Business District. I need some adjusting on that.
So, Neil, you didn't want to look at the mayor? Is that what it was?
Well, I didn't.
I wouldn't blame him.
I'm not that tall.
Oh, throw me under the bus now.
There's lots of room.
Thanks for allowing us to have public comment for this topic. So I wanted to kind of go back to the October 9th discussion, and there was a lot of questions towards Marshalltown Central Business District, and it'd be a good opportunity to do some storytelling, right? What's the impact, what's the value, what's the ROI for the Marshalltown Central Business District to Marshalltown? So what we did with our partnership and accreditation from Main Street, Iowa, is really put the data into some storytelling, some factual paperwork, slides that you can tangibly see. So really wanted to highlight the top right? The reinvestment stats. This is from 2019, 2023. We've got data going all the way back to 2002, which was our first accreditation with Main Street Iowa program. There's only 54 communities in Iowa that are accredited through Main Street in the state. 54, right? 54. Thank you. Just making sure. Out of 200 and...
well, there's 900 and some incorporated communities
Thank you. So 54 accredited cities out of 900 communities, right? So 2019 and 2023, there's $36 million, public and private, that have been invested in our downtown. Since 2002, $93 million. That's not chump change. I wish I had that money in my pocket. I don't. But that's really amazing to see. When you go down the Main Street, you really see that happening, right? That doesn't capture the projects that are happening right now with the Willard Hopkins and the Gilner's building. And there's also 3 buildings that are still, that the city owns, that are opportunity for redevelopment for anybody that's in the room, that it'll be prime opportunity for redevelopment, right? We highlight that on the treasurer's tour. We toured 7 buildings that were prime for revitalization, that are undergoing revitalization, and then have completed revitalization. So I know some of the counselors were on there. It was really fun to see time spaces that are trapped in the 1920s, all the way to an updated pharmacy, to the new coffee shop coming. So that's all new retail business coming, right? There was a comment earlier, I wish there was more retail. Times have changed, economics have changed. We're working to get that back, right? And so with our accreditation with Main Street, Iowa, $3.4 million in grants came to Marshalltown. If we weren't accredited, or there was not an accredited Main Street, that dollars would not have happened. So what we've done to attract from a Main Street organization, right, we really wanted to bring people to downtown. How have we done that? Through all the different events that have been happening in Marshalltown. Haunt the Block was amazing. That's the biggest turnout that we've ever seen since this event has happened, right? I thought last year was pretty busy. This year was extremely busy. November 18th, this Saturday, Holiday Stroll. So we're all doing events to bring people downtown. It's up to the businesses to attract them and to bring them in to spend money. So when you look at Tannin and Real Deals, there's some kind of great cross-selling that just happened organically, where people started drinking wine and went over to Real Deals, or Real Deals and drink wine. That's great. But what happened now, when we got the announcement, Oliver Bean Design is coming to Main Street. I think they're in progress of moving. So that little triangle should be busy, right? Go to Oliver Bean, Real Deals, Tannin, in some direction or not. So that's been really fun. There's been comments about the facades have been looking nice. That's, again, through the implementation of the downtown facade grants, through a partnership between the state, the city, and MCBD. What's another great, what we're getting from Main Street, Iowa, is the market data analysis. We get ESRI, we get Claritas. That just tells us what's working well in Marshalltown and what we need help with, right, from a retail front. And then we also get a design assistance from somebody who wants to develop their second story space into an apartment. We can go to Main Street, Iowa and say, hey, partner up with this building owner and design a space for them, an apartment. That'll work. So that's really great. It's just I took the day off from my day job and went to a Main Street, Iowa workshop for storytelling, and so this is what came out of it. It was really neat to see the opportunity, and you also get to see the support you get from Main Street, Iowa, right? So the 2024 goals during the construction for Main Street that may happen in 2025, what can we do better as a community Main Street organization to learn what's worked well in other Main Street communities, right? Tell us what you've done, what you've learned with best practices, what you could have done better. And that's what's so great about being a Main Street organization. We'd like to start an entrepreneurship program. There's a lot of vacant retail spaces right now on Main Street. Let's get those filled. Let's get more retail in there, shopping, dining, and experience concepts. That'd have been great. Another Main Street, Iowa workshop, community develop a Business Builder Academy. It's basically a 6-week program, boot camp, where you get a presentation by a legal, accounting, business planning, the whole 9 yards to run a business in downtown. So that's been really fun to see. So how can we take those learning lessons and best practices from the community and apply that in our downtown? And then lastly, stronger city and partner organization relationships. So tomorrow night's planning meeting for Main Street, how can we all work together to make a really cool downtown? Creative placemaking isn't just art, right? So when you take the corner of Center Street and Main Street, That's an opportunity for redevelopment, but what if we reimagine that space instead of a grassy area into a community gathering space, right? We put up some temporary tables, some chairs, a stage, right? You go to Smokin' G's, you get lunch. You go to Ocean City, you get lunch. This will be when it's warm, not in the wintertime. But an opportunity to really enjoy downtown in that space in a temporary setting. I don't have many slides on this. So I just really wanted to highlight also the top right. Main Street Iowa gave out this tidbit of information. Take a look at your big box stores and what kind of value per dollar per square foot brings to your community. And then go downtown and do that same calculation. What I found, I took a spread of standalone buildings that have not been revitalized all the way to the first floor being revitalized with upper story housing. On average, there's about a 3.7 higher value per dollar per square foot than a big box store on the south side. The highest I found was about 8 times, and the lowest was about 4 times, about 3. So it's really interesting to see the value of revitalized spaces in downtown that brings back as an ROI and an impactful deliverable to Marshalltown, right? It's been really great to see. There's 17 upper housing units in construction. If you were on the Treasures Tour, you were able to see that in the Gildner's building and the Willard Hopkins. So that's really amazing. We do have our board here. We do have one paid executive director, but the rest, 68,000 volunteer hours since 2002. That's an all volunteer board that has a day job, that runs a retail shop, that does sales, that does marketing. So if you're on the board or a volunteer, please raise your hands. If you're a business owner, MCBD, raise your hand. So $2 million of volunteer impact, and that's pretty amazing. And to my next slide, $82,000 we were able to use private dollars to help with COVID and derecho relief for local grants, right, to help keep them in business. And the business participation have been huge. So on the block, right, we've seen basically 50% increase in businesses that have bought into the MCBD vision and are getting more participation in the events we do. So that's really great to see. And then 6 new businesses since 2019. So that's been really exciting also. Again, some data from Main Street Iowa. When they looked at all the communities pre-COVID and post-COVID, we've actually increased 9% in consumer spending past COVID. So that's been really amazing. So again, Michelle Burgess gave this quote. If it wasn't for MCBD and the promotion of the downtown and helping her with the building and the business, that she would not have any, her momentum wouldn't be as strong as it would have been. So that's really good to hear. That doesn't get captured unless you get storytelling going and capture that in a presentation like this. And so in 2024, our goals is, thriving during revitalization. These businesses are scared that if they don't get enough traction from consumers, then they may not be there till for post-project. So, and what does that look like? We're still looking through that. We're still building that framework, but we heard from a successful story from Main Street Iowa, a backdoor grant. So anybody with a backdoor, maybe the front has a lot of construction, it's hard to get to, it's probably not the safest. So is there a way to make their back door more inviting, safe, and more approachable for a consumer? And then the second piece of it that we really want to strongly look from an economic vitality front is business expansion and enhancements grants, right? So any existing business, what do they need to help them make their shopping experience for the consumer better, or help them grow in capability to help grow their revenue? And then also, how do we attract new businesses here? I'm sure there's a lot of aspiring daydreamers that want to own their own business, so how can we attract them and get them into those retail fronts on Main Street? So that's the shortest spiel I have on the Main Street overview. I hope that answers some of your questions from October 9th on some of the ROI and impact of what MCBD does for Marshalltown. Take any questions.
Thank you, Neil. because we're doing public comments and we'll have council comments later, there may be questions from the council later. By the way, Oliver Bean that you mentioned, I know they're looking for people that can help move things and pick up trucks and that sort of thing to get from the mall to the space kitty corner from the Tannin. Okay. Any other public comments? Yeah.
Jim Shaw, 522 North Second Street. On your very first slide, you showed something about the population down here is 18,000. So all I hear is that we're like 25 to 27,000. Where did you get the 18,000?
That's within 5 miles.
Yeah.
So 2.5 out in a radius.
Okay.
Right, that doesn't reach Southside or anything beyond that.
All I ever hear is that we're a city of population 20-some thousand.
We are.
28,000 or so was the last census, I think, or close.
So then where did we lose 10,000 people?
We didn't.
Yeah, we
It's
did.
just different calculations.
That didn't answer it.
It's a radius from downtown.
Yeah, he did a downtown radius.
It's a circle
2.5
from
miles
downtown
out,
given a
not-
5
Okay,
mile radius.
where do you get your 25,000? What?
That's the whole community.
Right. Anybody that's a resident is counted in the census.
Serena Stabenow, excuse me, 1403 West Main Street. And I like to drive downtown and see that there is improvement, and it's great. Because I drive to other communities and see that, that we are finally getting there. But again, I am a taxpayer, and I want to keep my taxes, where they're at. And, I took the Dave Ramsey class, and I have a little bit of income left. So I think, everybody that wants to be a business owner really needs to think about, well, if I want to own a business, I need this, this, and this. And so owning a business does take money. It does take a lot of work. I've been there, I've done that. So I don't think taxpayers should be paying for businesses to be remodeled. Are they going to make it? Well, they said, he just made that comment that we don't know if those businesses are going to make it or not. So I don't want to be giving money to a business that may or may not make it. Thank you.
The microphone is still open.
Deb Millizer, Director of the Marshalltown Central Business District. At first, I want to say that Marshalltown, the downtown, does have momentum. Oliver Bean moving to downtown Marshalltown is wonderful. It's great that they're close to Tannin. It's great that they're close to Real Deals. We also have 2 other boutiques and another clothing store in the downtown district that is a great draw for our downtown community. I'm sorry, this is either too high or too short or too tall. I want to take this opportunity because, as Neil pointed out, we have one director, which is me, and then the rest of the people that work at the downtown for the Marshalltown Central Business District are volunteers who do have day jobs, who have invested in the community, and do see the value of being a Main Street community and giving their time back. They raise their hands. They give countless hours for Travis and Jim are head of design. They give countless hours for the downtown cleanup, Christmas wreaths, banners. I don't know if you all saw, but we recently put an arch up in the MCBD alleyway. When you leave tonight, drive by it. Drive by it, see what the surprise is. And there's more to come. We have many other people like Cindy, who has been our board president, Andrina, who's held 2 or 3 different positions, Aaron Busby, and many other people that's not here tonight, and I'm sorry if I missed them and they are here tonight. It was a big crowd tonight. But we talk about grassroots, we talk about investing in our community, and these people have rolled up their sleeves and they have done it. And we would appreciate that the city would continue to support our efforts, including our facade grants, which, when we improve upon these buildings, it also adds to our tax roll when they have a higher value. So I want to thank you. I know you guys have had a very long night, but you guys are doing an important role in the community, and so I just wanted to say thank you for your time.
Thank you, Deb. Any other public comment?
No, I got one more.
You still had 1:47 left.
All of these events that happen in the downtown, I want to give credit to Alicia Fitzgerald. What she's doing is she's creating memories. She's creating place attachment to our downtown where people want to be. She and her crew, her team, I call them the fun committee, they start planning in January. They provide these events free to the community to enjoy. It's improvement of the quality of life, place attachment, and as I said earlier, it's creating memories for generations to come. So I'm very fortunate to have the team that I have.
Thank you. You know, after a year or two where we had some really cold evenings, I think the forecast this weekend's pretty nice for that. So should be a good holiday stroll this year. Anybody else like to comment publicly? If not, yes, sure.
Cindy Parks, 127 East Main Street. Just really quick, thank you for your years of partnership with the MCBD. Thank you to Deb for her giant work that she does. She's underpaid and understaffed, obviously. And again, I would like to kind of reiterate what Aaron said. If you'd asked me 20 years ago if I'd want to come live here in Marshalltown on Main Street, I would have said you're crazy, but that's where I'm at. I am at 127 East Main, and that was part of a Catalyst grant for MCBD and the Main Street community. And Barb Hagstrand and Jeff, they built that beautiful building with the gallery garden on the side, and I get to live in that fabulous apartment, and it wouldn't have happened if the partnership with the city and those people that worked tirelessly and put in all those hours hadn't been there. So thank you to the city council and the mayor, and thank you to everyone past and present that's ever worked for our Main Street community. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, time for staff review on this one.
This is a TIF-funded agreement, 5-year term, starts out at $50,000 in year 1, goes to $60,000 in year 2, and $70,000 in years 3 through 5.
Thank you. And time for council comments.
Your Honor, if I may?
You may.
I have a comment first and then a question for Neil or Deb, whoever's going to take this. My first comment is Alicia doesn't only create memories. I saw her during Haunt the Block. She creates nightmares too. Okay? So my question is, why the step up in money? Such a large step up over the years. Can you touch upon, one of you touch upon why you're asking for that number? What's going to be other projects that the money's going to be used for? I guess I'm asking you to justify the jump from 50 to 70.
Yeah, great question. Thank you for that. So looking at other communities, we are actually underfunded. Not putting it all on your shoulders, but it is also the county and then public-private partnership, right? So we're actually underfunded, and when we look at other projects that our other communities are doing to help grow and retain and expand Main Street opportunities like housing, they've actually, I think we're about 26% underfunded. I'd have to, looking at the budgets, but they actually have more staff. Atumwa, they've actually have another staff member to help retain and train and grow their small businesses. They're the one actually doing the Business Builder Academy. So that's twice a week, and I think that's 15 hours a week for 6 weeks, twice a year, right? And so as we progress in funding and get more operational, we can tie that back into the community and Main Street and have more business training, more retention and expansion. So that's why there's a jump into that. And also along design projects that we can help provide into. So not all on your shoulders as a city, but we are underfunded, and that's what this will help to do.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Your Honor.
You bet. Other council comments? I'll declare the public hearing is closed at 7:25 PM and call for roll call.
We need a motion.
Oh, I didn't have a motion on that one? Sorry.
Move for approve.
Thank you. Thank you. Now roll call.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottie Hoff,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
No.
Isom.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, that one carried on to the next category, ordinances.
Oh, we still have another
Oh,
public
I'm sorry,
hearing.
we're at 11:1, aren't we?
Yeah, public hearing on proposed economic development support agreement with the Marshalltown Central Business District for the facade and code improvement program, Resolution 2023-235, approving this agreement and authorizing the annual appropriation tax increment payments and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement.
And that public hearing is open at 7:25 PM. Did you get any written comments?
No, Your Honor.
Time for public comment?
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. Broken record here. Taxpayer money is low-hanging fruit. Takes four of you to approve free money for business owners downtown. They all have banks, they all have credit, they all have families who can loan them money. Instead, we go to the taxpayer who has no say in the grant. Well, it's true, they do have say. They have a vote. Imagine that, how that election went. Anyways, I don't think we need to be giving taxpayer money away. Thanks.
Any other public comment?
Neil DeLaw, Marshalltown Central Business District. I'm not an economic developer by trade. There's a lot of money being tied into the downtown projects like Gilner's. If it weren't for some of the grants and grants like this, those projects wouldn't have happened. Those buildings would have stayed vacant, and you wouldn't have seen any progress on it. I don't think this is a bad thing to do. The comment just earlier, there's some nice buildings with new facades in downtown, right? So when Gildner's is done and Willard Hopkins is done, that's going to increase pride. Yeah, it's a great project. It's a great use of funds. I'm looking forward to it, and this will be good for Marshalltown. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Linda Clark, 306 South 2nd Avenue. Seeing what happened with the street on State Street, they ran into a lot of problems. I am concerned about what's going to happen with the streets. Are these businesses going to be able to keep their businesses? Because how are they going to be able to get into their businesses when the streets are tore up? Because just like State Street had bad sewer, bad things, Heather had a lot of problems with that. Looks like State Street's going to be narrower. I'm not really happy and thrilled about the fact that there'll be a bike lane on one side and tables on the other. What's going to happen with Main Street when it's all torn up? And I too just kind of think, I want Marshalltown to be better, but there's money. And when it's taxpayer dollars that's being expected, I'm like the other lady. I'm on a very fixed budget. So I think all these things need to be considered, because who knows what's going to be run into when the streets tore up on Main Street. Thanks for your time.
Anyone else? All right, after public comments comes staff review.
This is a TIF-funded agreement, term of 5 years at $50,000, provides for grant funding for downtown facade and code improvements.
And council comments. I'll declare the public hearing is closed at 7:29 PM, and we do have a resolution to be moved and seconded and voted on.
Move for approval on the resolution, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Let's vote.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lonnie Hoff.
Yes.
That carried. I think that sets a record for the number of public hearings we've had in one meeting. Let's go to ordinances.
We now can go back to those resolutions, item 18 and 19.
I'm sorry?
The we need to vote on the resolutions that were pulled from consent. So
Oh.
item 18,
You bet.
Resolution 2023-223, obligating funds from the Urban Renewal Tax Revenue Fund for appropriation to the payment of annual appropriation tax increment finance obligations which shall come due in the next succeeding fiscal year for Urban Renewal Area 3 for the Chamber of Commerce.
We don't have to have a public hearing on this one. Is there a motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any second?
Second.
Discussion. No discussion up here. Any public comment or discussion out there? Oh, boy. We get to take a vote.
Glad this was pulled.
Lottie Hoff,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell.
Yes.
That carried on to number 19 that I forgot about.
Resolution 2023-224, obligating funds from the Urban Renewal Tax Revenue Fund for appropriation to the payment of annual appropriation tax increment finance obligations which shall come due in the next succeeding fiscal year for Urban Renewal Area Number 4 for the Marshalltown Central Business District.
Floor is open for motion.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
So moved, Your Honor.
Discussion by the council. Discussion by the public. Roll call.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottie Hoff,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Very good. Now we finally get to go to ordinances in category H. What's our first one?
Ordinance 15076 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending Chapters 76 Traffic Schedules, Schedule 8 Speed Limits, first reading.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Heather Thomas, Public Works. This item in front of you tonight is to correct a clerical error. Back in February and March, we discussed speed limit changes on Lincoln Way. In your packets, I've included the exhibit that we presented at that time. It's been brought to our attention that when we updated the official schedule record, we missed the changes on the fourth column in front of you. This resulted in our official ordinance record showing that the speed limit in the area from Highland Acres Road to approximately 200 feet west of Ann Rutledge Road was 35 mile an hour by ordinance. However, what we communicated, posted, intended, and enforced was 40 mile an hour. I request your approval tonight to make the clerical change.
Thank you. Any discussion up here?
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
I just want to make it clear to the public that this is outside of the view of the speed camera. This has nothing to do with the automated traffic enforcement camera.
That is correct.
Other council comments or questions? Other public comment? Let's roll the call. Call the roll.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottie Hoff,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Very good, that carried. Before we go on to the next motion, I got my first ticket for that, and the photos are really pretty good. There was no question whose vehicle that was.
In Your Honor, I would make a motion to waive the second and third reading of the motion we just passed, or the ordinance we just passed.
Second.
Roll call.
Kell,
Yes.
Lottie Hoff,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
All right, next item.
Ordinance 15077 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa by amending Chapter 77 Parking Schedules, Schedule 2 No Parking Anytime, and Schedule 7 Snow Removal, Parking Prohibited, first reading.
Oh, let me call for motion first.
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Good evening, Heather Thomas, Public Works again. This item is related to the State Street reconstruction project going on. First, a couple of quick updates. Stage 1 is open to vehicular traffic as of Friday, so please, if you haven't driven, take a chance to do so. Stage 2, we paved the main line today. And I did take note of your comment earlier, Mayor Greer. I will look at the traffic control for that. But this item is related to parking along this stretch. Because this project is as large as it is and spans 2 construction seasons, we were debating when to bring the ordinance forward and how many iterations of it. We've determined after a meeting here a couple weeks ago with the different parties involved with snow removal along the route that we'd like to bring the whole 6 blocks to you at once and then only enforce and sign as the stages are completed. So in front of you this evening are 2 changes to our ordinance. One is the no parking anytime schedule. Because of the addition of the cycle track on the north side, there is no longer parallel parking on the north side of the road. Anytime that we restrict parking on the side of a road, that is an ordinance change, so we're requesting no parking anytime on the north side from 3rd Street to 3rd Ave. Additionally, as we talk about snow removal and especially the difficulties downtown, the Public Works Department and the Park and Rec Department does haul off all of the snow that is removed in the right-of-way. And so for those reasons, we have a period of time when we plow the snow to a certain location and then we come pick it up at a later date. In the past, that's always been the center of State Street, but because of the narrowing of the road, we're going to need to plow that over into the parallel parking area until we have a chance to pick that up. Generally, we come in at midnight, 2 a.m. The day after that we've moved that snow over to the parallel parking area to pick that up when there isn't traffic here so we can have our large equipment. So we are requesting a change to schedule to, say, prohibit parking during snow removal operations along the south side from 3rd Street to 3rd Ave, and I'll open it up for questions.
Any questions or comments by the council? Public comment? Roll call. Oh, sorry.
Jim Shaw, 522 North 2nd Street. Can you explain to me why there's not a curb cut in the 3rd parking lot next to the tire place? There's one lane and you got a curb cut. There's another lane, you got a curb cut. The 3rd parking lot that goes down by where the farmer's market thing is, there's no curb cut. So if you want to get in that parking lot, you go clear down the alley, back up to the side, and then when you want to leave, you go clear back down the alley to get out of there. Why isn't there a curb cut?
Yes, during the design process, one of the things for the downtown project was trying to make it more pedestrian friendly, especially along State Street where there's a cycle track on the north side. It's called access control, removing accesses, driveways into different parking lots. And the decision was because there is an entrance off of both 2nd Ave and the alley at that time, that parking lot would be accessed from those 2 points and no longer an access point directly off State Street.
Thank you. Other comments by the public? Roll call on this one.
Hoop? Isom?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottie Hop?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Very good. And for our last item, before we get to discussions,
Ordinance 15078 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Marshalltown, Iowa, Chapter 73, Recreational Vehicles, and 93, Parks and Recreation Leisure, first reading.
was there a motion to approve first?
So moved, Your Honor.
Any second?
Second.
The discussion, Chief.
Good evening, Mike Tupper, Marshalltown Police Department. I get the big issues tonight. I promised Joe I would keep this to a 30-minute discussion. I'm just kidding. So,
starting the timer now.
We've had some issues this past year with people living in their tents in their backyards, or recreational vehicles in their backyards, campers, stuff like that, and it's become a quality of life issue in our neighborhoods. And the ordinance that we had on the books to deal with that was not really effective. And so I consulted with the city attorney, and we made some changes that we are bringing forth tonight that we think will help us moving forward in more effectively addressing these problems when they occur. So we're recommending approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
So we're not talking about kids camping in the
No.
backyard, right?
No.
As far,
No.
We're talking about long-term living.
Yeah, we're talking about people setting up the tent and trying to live there for months or weeks, okay? So kids still be able to camp in the backyard. Actually, if Uncle Joe comes to visit you with his camper and parks it in the driveway for a couple days, they can do that too, okay? But the people that are trying to live in RVs and tents, we're trying to address. So I think that this gives us a more effective enforcement tool. It's not the silver bullet, but it puts us in the right direction and the right path to deal with these problems.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may, but first I was going to say, Mike, I think I'd take a houseboat in your backyard. Didn't you have a big pond back there? Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
I just want to say that there's several people that have reached out to me that are neighbors of several different sites. They're waiting for an ordinance change that has more teeth, that can be enforced. So this is something that we need to do. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Other council comments or questions?
I guess just a shout out to Chief for dealing with some of the situations just recently. Gary, to your point, this is probably one of the more active email strings that I've been a part of on more than one instance in the second ward. So much needed, and obviously thank you for managing those as you've been able to thus far.
Somehow, issues like this were never taught at Chief's school. But we're trying to stay on top of them, and these are important quality of life issues. So my staff, on a kind of a semi-related note, my staff is generally angry with me because I push parking enforcement, traffic enforcement so much, or issues like this so much, and they want to know why it's so important to the chief. And my response is because it's so important to the community. And so this is one of those issues that I have heard a lot about from the community, and it's just something that we need to do a better job of addressing.
Honestly, I've had more complaints about this type of thing than I have about our road conditions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your Honor, if I may, one more thing.
You may.
Let's not lose sight of the fact that the majority of these people are living there for a reason. It's not Uncle Joe coming to visit and overstaying his welcome. So when this does start getting enforced, we've got to figure out a way to deal with another issue of making these people more transient than they are.
Right.
So.
And we'll continue to work with Impact to address the problems of homelessness, but some people have been unwilling to accept assistance because their option has been, I can live in my backyard in my camper, and so we're trying to make sure that they understand they can't do that.
We are having our first bigger organizational meeting with, I think, 22 or 23 people on a committee to address the homelessness, or I guess unsheltered is kind of the new politically correct term to deal with that later this week. Other council comments or questions up here before we open to the public?
I guess one more follow-up. Chief, are you asking us to waive the second and third reading on this one if we do pass this on the first reading?
That's why you all get paid the big bucks. That's up to you. So I'm ready to move forward either way.
Well, if there are not any other public comments, let's go ahead and vote on the motion as is first.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Isom?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Lottie
Yes.
And if the spirit moves anybody to suggest move that we waive the next two readings.
Your Honor,
Yes,
it
sir.
does move me.
Okay.
Second.
Let's call the roll on that one too.
Lottie
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Isom?
Yes.
Kell?
Yes.
Carried as well. Very good. Got a new ordinance. On to discussion items. We have two of those. One's local option sales tax renewal discussion.
I'll start off with that one, Mr. Mayor. This is, we call it lost local option sales tax renewal. The current one expires June 30, 2025. In order to continue to collect that, a special election is required. City Council is required to provide the county auditor a notice of that special election no later than 84 days ahead of the next special election. So looking at a special election on March 5th, 2024, then that resolution would be required no later than December 11th. So tonight we want to discuss a little bit what the council thoughts are on allocation and ballot language a little bit, and then we'll bring back forth a resolution on November 27th to take a look at. But Over the weekend, I hit 2 months here, and this is an interesting one. I just wanted to talk philosophically just a little bit about this, because when we talk about our local option sales tax, it does two things. The first is property tax relief, and that's sometimes, I used to think that was a made-up term, quite frankly, but the way it's used here is pretty accurate. It's maybe hard to realize. None of us loves to pay property tax, but it's a fact of life, and in cities it's a major revenue source, but it's not enough to provide you with the services. So lost is used to provide some additional services, and in particular, one of the things that's been used here, we've been having a lot of discussions. The landscape's going to change a little bit for budgeting with House File 718 next year, so it's going to be a little more challenging than it had been. But certain amounts of debt are being paid for with this local option sales tax rather than the levy, the tax levy. So that is directly a positive effect to every citizen's. If I don't know the numbers yet, we'll know it later. We'll calculate it, but it would be a significant property tax increase if this was not renewed. So this is really important to all of our citizens. But probably more importantly, another thing that comes up is the second part of it is council designated. Now, interestingly, depending on how that looks, sometimes folks take that like you've just cussed in church. And I think it's important to talk a little bit about what that means, and really what that means to me is there's certain things we're going to bring to the budget. And it doesn't just mean it's a slush fund for later. Some of that's been held that way and done some great things in the community. The wonderful thing about maintaining some of it is when emergencies happen, there's an opportunity for staff to come up to the council and say, we really need your help with this. This is really important to the community, and we need to move forward. But one of the things that we're looking at in the budget and is important to me is looking at some of our street maintenance processes and what's it going to cost. It can't all be done with tax funds, both property tax or sales tax, but I think we need to take a look at what should be done and could be done and maybe paint a little bit of a picture. The next thing is we've talked about codes enforcement. That's really not as much of a dollar amount, but it's something we need to look at and look at those too. So those are some things that I'm going to ask that are really important, but we're also seeing some levies disappear. And we're going to have some hard choices. But this local option sales tax, if there's anything I can say to the citizens, is very important to you. You may not know it yet, but if it disappears, it's going to be a pretty dire situation. And our staff has done a nice job balancing the budget, but it can't be done and provide the services you need and are asking for without it.
Thank you. The floor is open for discussion. Let's go up here first. Anybody in the council first? Okay. No public comment then?
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. So lots of balls in the air right now. The legislature is looking at messing with local option sales tax because, as we know, their goal is to get us to zero state income tax, which is awesome. And when any state goes to 0% income tax, they always raise the local option sales tax and take it over. But I think we can do better. I think we can put 100% of the local option sales tax to debt relief. Because, as the city administrators just mentioned, there's a levy for debt. And we buy down that levy with local option sales tax. We don't really need a slush fund, that 22% slush fund. And as it stands today, I don't know what teeth we've got in this because you're holding back I don't know what it is, 200,000 in the 78% that you were supposed to give us, but you didn't. And then the 22%, you've got about 2 million. And if we put that towards debt relief, roughly the last number I heard was $100,000 was $1 on your levy. And so there's a lot of money getting held back here. And when we're talking about emergency money, we have an emergency levy, 27 cents for an emergency levy, and it's got about $2 million in it. And the levies are not going away. They are more controlled by you than ever. And they're not going away for the next 5 years. And so in 5 years, I'm going to bet the state's done something with the local option sales tax. So I think right now, in March, this should be 100% to debt relief. No monkey business. 100%, every dollar. Thank you.
Other public comment? Okay. Next discussion item, the Marshalltown Center update.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. John Hall with the Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce. I appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you all for just a few more minutes this evening to share a little update on kind of what's transpired with the mall. Obviously, we've heard about the power situation and something that we were at least aware of kind of before it happened, and so we're able to notify most all the businesses that were out there and then have tried to take some action since. So we've connected with all but 2 of the businesses, so 14 of the 16 businesses out there. We've outreached to the remaining 2, but just haven't yet heard back. And so we've done a full assessment with all of those businesses to understand both their current state of affairs as well as kind of what their immediate plans are, trying to identify major timing concerns and issues that may arise. And so of the 16 total businesses out there, I want to be clear that at this point, none have deemed themselves permanently closed, and so all are working on trying to find other answers. But there are 4 closed inside the mall, 4 internal businesses, and then 12 open. All the external-facing businesses have remained open. There are 6 that are actively looking or moving. So we've heard about Oliver Bean. In addition to that, there are 5 additional that we've had conversations with that are actively looking at moving or finding a new home. We've seen some businesses really step up. So Hobby Lobby was, I think, the first to install temporary lighting to the cost of about $5,000 a week to maintain outdoor lighting temporarily through this unfortunate part. And then the mall ownership has put up the remaining temporary lights that you see out there right now. I want to be clear, that's not a long-term solution, and those are very expensive, but I know that it's a lot of mall management that has worked on that. I have heard from ownership that November 18th is the date that they believe a resolution may be coming on the electrical issue. This has been going on for about 10 months of unpaid electric bills, so I'll believe it when I see it, but I know that a lot of businesses out there are holding on to hope that that is going to be the case, and I am right there with them. If it gets turned back on, that bill gets paid on November 18th, I promise you I will be cheerleading the ownership for getting that taken care of. But we do have broken trust in the community. The ownership has proved that they can't be trusted to handle the rent dollars and appropriately pay their bills, and that has real impact on our business community. The inside being shut off is closed immediately for businesses. The 12 remaining open on the external are fortunate that TLC stepped up and paid an electrician to wire in the alarm system for the fire alarm sprinkler system into their power so that all those external businesses could continue to operate with the necessary fire precautions out there. And so we are fortunate to have had businesses stepping up, but the trust is broken, and so we've got to figure out a better long-term solution, and we're working on this. I do want to laud the media, the business community for the way that we have talked about this has been abundantly clear from the outset. This is not a reflection of Marshalltown. This is not a reflection of the Marshalltown business community. This is not a reflection of the Marshalltown Mall local management, that this is truly just a reflection of out-of-state New York ownership not taking care of the bills that they need to take care of. And so while we immediately stepped up with doing an assessment, working with the businesses that are closed to try and find new homes, working with those that are actively looking for new space to find a better permanent solution for where they want to be, we know that at the end of the day, this trust broken is going to be a major impediment to additional folks being willing to invest in that mall, being willing to open businesses out there. And so we are actively engaged in some conversations with potential local owners, potential local investor group, trying to, and then a number of folks who have been involved with or been hired by mall management companies to look at revitalization of rural community malls in the past. And so, and we've spoken with the owner. We know that a sale is a possibility on this. So we're actively kind of pursuing that avenue of things, knowing that for the long-term sustainability of that asset, it's likely going to require, at very least, different ownership hands, but likely local ownership hands to really get back to where we need it. So I provide that all to you tonight with only the simple final caveat of, continuing to support those businesses, especially helping to find unique solutions for them. But then additionally, any levers that the city may be able to pull at present time or into the near future to additionally apply pressure is going to be absolutely paramount to acquiring this asset in a relatively short period of time in order to at least provide for some businesses to be able to remain out there if the situation is to deteriorate or get worse. So with all that, I would open up if you all have any questions.
I just have a comment to start. I had dinner at Mama de Gredo's last Wednesday night and had no trouble with the lighting to get into the restaurant, and was pleased to see other people there, and it's really good food still being served there. The hair salon where I get my haircut, they found other places, other chairs, so if you need a haircut, you can still get that done. So I'm not sure about the other three businesses, but I sure appreciate what the Chamber's been doing to try to help everybody that you can out there. And anybody that reads the newspaper or even social media these days knows that malls all over the place are having trouble. I mean, some of the, the Valley West Mall, the southeast part of Des Moines, Mason City's struggling. Fort Dodge has a different type of mall set up there too. So if you travel at all around the state, this is not just a local problem here, but it'd be nice to have local ownership. There. Thank you. I'll shut up. Anybody else?
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
John, I think you're a little more optimistic than I am. Last time I looked, they missed their September property tax payment too. So if you get your $200,000 for utility bills, it gets them caught up. Try and get their payment for the property taxes too.
So while I sound optimistic standing in front of City Council, the reality is I've dealt with this owner before in a prior community that I served in, and the situation ended in true tragedy with a death on site as a direct result of stresses and things like that were created by the ownership. And so while I am hopeful for our businesses out there and for our business community, I am also eyes wide open and realistic that we need to be, and that's part of why we did an assessment with every business, knowing that many of them, for instance, the movie theater, they can't go anywhere else. That's not a tomorrow decision, but we need to build that communication, that depth of relationship there, so that if and when they're forced into a situation, we can at least have been working through alternatives.
And I just want to say, and you probably already know this, but I was notified today that the Diamond Vogel retail store is now back on the market. And for other reasons, it was slowed down for a while. I had no reason to go into that, but they have hired a realtor and they've had a lot of interest. And so I'm thinking they're going to have a lot more interest from some of the stores at the mall.
A lot of their interest has been from, yep. And so we've been engaged in a lot of conversations. The outreach has been truly tremendous, both in terms of property owners reaching out and saying, hey, we might have space. We've had businesses that are working on relocating to the community reaching out saying, hey, what can we do to help the mall businesses? We've had Iowa Works reach out. They have a series of programs typically for layoffs. So if there's any closures of the businesses services that's being forced upon them, additional tools and resources that they want to make our businesses aware of and available to them. And so the outpouring of support has truly been tremendous. And you mentioned Mama de Grotto's. A perfect example, I was in there last week when we were doing this assessment, and after all the news came out, they've seen just a tremendous outpouring of support, which is really great for them to be able to bank some of those assets in case they end up in a tighter position later on. And so truly, it's been great to see the outpouring of support and quick reactions of a number of folks in the community on this.
And then the last thing is, Marshalltown's still a small enough town that these stores, some of these stores don't need to be located next to other retail places. They have built a following, so some of these vacant buildings that these owners have reached out about, they will do well just relocating by themselves in different places, because we are a small community.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were lucky 5 years and 5 months ago that the mall was available for True Value and McGregor's and the gym that went out there and that sort of thing. But that was because they had open space.
Well, and what I can tell you is even the available space that's out there right now is a tremendous asset and something that we have been able to market pretty successfully to a number of companies that want to be here. Think big box retail opportunities. Having, again, that opportunity for local ownership where we can have a little bit more partnership in redevelopment and attraction, I think could be a tremendously valuable asset for the community.
Exactly. Other council comments before we open up to the public?
So, quick question. So, is a crisis moment going to be when everything freezes up so hard inside it that the water flow through the sprinkler system ceases?
If the power doesn't get restored, I'd say that's probably the next big concern.
Dave Ryerson, Marshalltown Fire Department. So, to your question, Mother Nature has given the business owners a reprieve of a week, but eventually, unless the heat gets restored, I'm probably going to have to shut down many more of the businesses, that even though they have an outside entrance. Hobby Lobby has their own sprinkler system and alarm system. 24-Hour Fitness, when they went in there, they separated the sprinkler system and alarm system from the mall, so they have their own. So they will stay open. They're gonna be fine. The theater, the theater's working with a sprinkler company to try and figure out if there's a way that they can separate their building from the system that the mall is on. And then they're also having an electrician come in to help them with some of their exit lighting that is dependent on power from the mall. So, and as far as responsiveness for the business or the property owner, we've reached out to him twice, and there's been no response to our inquiries about anything. So, that's kind of the state of it out there from a fire perspective.
Your Honor. Question for the chief. Chief, even though those businesses have their own sprinkler systems and control them, but if that water line feeds from somewhere else in the mall, and the mall's not being heated.
The water line has been set, they have their own separate feed into those businesses. So they've been separated from the mall's water supply. So they'll continue to remain open.
Thanks. Other council comments or questions? Public comment? Seeing nobody rushing to the mic, let's say we are adjourned here at 8:03 p.m. Thanks. I'm sorry? Oh, we have a closed session. That's right. We have to do that first. Okay. Thanks for coming, folks. We're going to be going into a closed session. Joe, do you want to take care of the...
Can we have a recess?
Oh, yes. We'll have a short recess so everybody is, sorry.
I'm going to run around and walk.
You know, if she wouldn't bring these big water bottles, she'd probably be okay. A little one like this, you can blast.
I'll catch up with you. This won't take I can eat breakfast in 1 minute. That's what I miss is that.